Let's talk about Anthonie Knapp, Jamie. You like him quite a bit. If anyone was listening to Power Hour yesterday, Jamie gave Anthonie Knapp the hard sell, and it was pretty convincing for me. So we're going to run some highlights, Jamie. I've never seen this many pancakes. Every single clip is a pancake. It's kind of unbelievable. I don't think I've ever seen it. But let's I'll run this, and you can talk about Anthonie Knapp. He's going to be announcing I think tomorrow sometime.
Yeah. I like Anthonie Knapp a lot. I think, one of these things that kind of stand out on film, he's an easy mover, right?
Okay.
Like just a good athlete. And I think one of these things that people kind of talk about how the best thing is the best feeling in the world is moving a man from point A to point B against his will. And that is great. And obviously he does a ton of that, right? He does a ton of that. You see him like cake guys, and you see him cake guys with leverage. You see him get out to the thing. But here's like something, an example, like just, he can get his hips around. The hardest block for, an offensive lineman to make is the reach block. Right? A guy who's beating you by alignment, who's more athletic than you, like who's smaller than you, that all these things are against you, why you can't do it. And this guy, and he reaches people with ease. And I mean, look at this guy just drive and pancake that dude, just that kind of thing. And easy movement, right? Easy movement, good snatch and grab right there. Beautiful. Love it. Right? Like, long arms. Right. So if he's 6'4", 6'5", I've seen 6'4", 6'5", different places. Here's the other thing. They have him. If you're worried about his size, they literally just had him on campus. They look at all that kind of stuff. Penn State had him on campus, looked at his size, and then all of a sudden he became a bigger prospect for them after that. He's like one of Penn State's top tackle prospects, right? So like, the in-person evaluation part of it is important in terms of judging, in terms of where you see. The finish, right? The finish, and obviously it's standing out. I'm sorry. We should probably be talking more about just what's going on here, but just like there, snatch and grab again. But look how easy it is. He's in that position because he's in control. He's balanced. I think he's a guy who has the feet to play left tackle. He has the feet to. And whether or not they think he's long enough or he can be big enough, whatever. But like, he's a guy who's athletic enough to play multiple spots on the line, right? And there's this like weird thing right now where people are upset because they're like, they think he's too small or whatever. I mean, first of all, I think you believe he's like 265 right now.
265 as a junior.
Yeah, as a junior, exactly. So he could easily be 280, by the end of his senior year. And who else was like that's like Liam Eichenberg. Like that's what no one was stressing about Liam Eichenberg. They do it. People like this because he's, he doesn't have a ranking at a couple of these places, right? He's a 3-star, I believe, on 247. But the other place haven't even ranked him, right? Like he's just not like a thing. I don't know why. So Xander Cruz asking why his offer's not good. I don't know. Like maybe because they didn't get a chance to see him in person.
I want to know why it is
here's
the thing. Here's the thing. I want to know why it is that if Notre Dame, everyone says Notre Dame's O-line U, right?
Yeah.
Then Notre Dame is the offer.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Like, I don't understand this. Like, if everyone says Notre Dame this, right? Notre Dame is O-line U and they can get on everybody and all this other stuff, right? Well, if that's the case, then if Notre Dame offers, then that's the offer. Yeah. That's what everyone else should point to. It's
look
like
at that.
Notre Dame offered.
That's beautiful reach block right there, right? Like
it's just if Notre Dame offered, then why aren't we offering? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand when it comes to offensive line why it has to be. Why doesn't the SEC want him? I don't know. Why is that important to me? I don't care. Notre Dame offered. That's the offer. Like, what offers did Joe Alt have? I don't know. Does it matter?
He's going to be
a top 10 pick. He's going to be a top 5 pick. Like, I don't understand why that's important. So at quarterback, right? I think it's fair to say. At receiver, I think it's fair to say, because Notre Dame doesn't traditionally recruit those guys.
Yeah.
So it could be a red flag for you. That's fine. That doesn't bother me. What I'm saying is, if Notre Dame likes him, it's different. It's different. I just don't like. In my opinion, and when Notre Dame goes in on somebody, when Joe Rudolph goes in on somebody who recruited guys at Wisconsin, right? Like, if Notre Dame recruited someone from the Midwest and Wisconsin wasn't on him, we'd be like, well, why isn't Wisconsin on him? You know, like, people respect Joe Rudolph. People respect when Notre Dame makes an offer. So, like, to me, I don't think we need to go in on like, well, if he's so good, then why doesn't X Notre Dame offered? That's where I'm at. I don't want it really, like, if Notre Dame thinks he's good and all this other stuff with the smallness and all that, the strength coach, he signs off on everybody.
Yeah.
He signs off on everyone. That's why you bring him on campus and offer him. And it's like, if he says it's good, then it's good. And then to me, it's like Emil Wagner, right? Like, there were a ton of questions about Emil Wagner and whether or not he's, whether he can get there. If they say it's fine, then it's fine. And everyone moves on. That's how I see it.
Also, too, I'm about to go on a big rant here because I can't stand this. Okay, so Patrick Carter brings up Trevor Ruland, and he's a perfect example. He was an undersized guy, right? But you know what? Trevor Ruland, I mean, and his problem was always he was going to be whatever. But his problem, he's got short arms. He's got like short arms. He was never going to be a certain guy. And he ballooned, but he worked hard to get to 295, right? They worked hard to get to 295. Like, so he didn't have trouble putting on the weight. He got to 300, you know? Zeke Correll, everybody's like, oh man, these guys so small. He's over 300 pounds now. Like, he put on the weight. And I'm not saying that he's ever going to be big or as big as, he's not as big as Nick Martin was at center because he's shorter and whatever. And if they decide to not take him because whatever, but it's like, who are the guys? There's literally been 2 guys in recent memory that have struggled to gain weight. One, Cole Mabry, a guy they never should have taken. Cole Mabry was undersized, never should take. And Michael Carmody. I just looked. Freshman year, he was 295. I have no idea why he's 280 right now. Like, I have no idea why that has happened to him. Like, I don't know. I don't know if it's because he doesn't care or he's like, whatever, like, he's like, it doesn't matter that much to him. Or if there's something else, like some people they might have something going on medically that is preventing him from doing it. I don't know why, but he is clearly the exception to everybody else because Liam Eichenberg, Robert Hainsey, Joe Alt, Zeke Correll, Andrew Kristofic, all these guys who came in undersized, put on the weight. Yeah, of course, Xander Cruz. Wagner still needs to put on weight. Yeah, he still does. He hasn't even been on campus a year yet.
What is that? None of this has to do anything with the film that we just watched.
No,
this is all weight, and it's all other offers.
And
I don't. Why do I care about that?
Also, I challenge everyone to go look at like the offensive tackle rankings for like any year and see how many guys are like 330 or 300 over 300. There's not a lot out of the top like 20 tackles in a class. That's not how it works. Most guys are like, there's quite a number of guys who are like 260, 270, right? That's how it is, right? So that's one part of it. It's like a total like gross overreaction to say whatever. And the thing is too, is like people are like, oh, you shouldn't just trust the coaches. Well, they're the guys who actually see him in person. It's on them if they screw up. They have to be able to see like this guy's frame. They have to be able to look to see if this guy can get the weight. They have to know in his personality, if this guy really wants to do that kind of stuff, if he really cares about that stuff. So if they're wrong, then they're wrong, but they get a chance to look at him in person. No one who's looking at, I mean, I don't get this to see him and be like, man, this guy is frank, whatever. Right. So all you can do, of course, you're going to trust them because it's on them. If they think he's going to be 260 his whole time, they're not taking him. That's not how it works. So that is, to me, is just like a ridiculous argument. The other thing is Joe Rudolph, right? If you respect Joe Rudolph and you respect the kind of like developer of talent of what he did at Wisconsin and an evaluation, the type of evaluator he is, right? So if you respect that, he worked him out in camp, in person. That's how he earned the offer. So maybe he went to some of these other camps. I don't know if he went to all these other camps and didn't earn offers or whatever, or if he didn't, but he saw him in person. That is a chance. He got a chance to work with him and was like, this is the guy that I want. And he moved to another place where he can recruit. He can recruit anyone he wants at Notre Dame. And he decided, like, I still want to recruit this guy. Is that not something? Like, does that not matter? Like, I think it does. I think it does. Okay. Here's a list of guys that played for Rudolph, at Wisconsin. Michael Dieter, 2-star guard, became a 3rd-round draft pick. Walk-on, Ryan Ramczyk, 1st-round pick, right? Wasn't a guy that he evaluated, but he was a guy that played for him, right? Obviously he was a walk-on anyways. He transferred over from like another small Wisconsin school. David Edwards, 3-star tight end, 5th-round pick. Logan Bruss, 3-star guard, 3rd-round pick. So he's got a decent track record of like knowing some of these guys who has a chance to be that kind of guy. So I definitely better than any of the Yabos on ISD or any of these other things who are like, no, why are we taking him? Whatever. Like, yes. And I'm someone who has to rank people. So yeah, I definitely think like, yeah, rankings do matter. Of course you want to get like the 5-star guy, whatever. Right. Well, first of all, there ain't 5-star guys in this class. It's not a good offensive tackle class. The kid from Mater Dei who they offered after Harry Easton left, I don't think that guy's that good. Like if you compared him to other classes, he's a big, monstrous guy. But like, if you told me that Anthonie Knapp ended up having a better career than him, I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked because that guy, there are a lot of things to like about him, but he's kind of similar to Justin Scott to me, where he's like got a lot of holes that he needs to kind of work on. He might be Bray Walker. And if people don't know, Bray Walker was this massive offensive tackle who was like 315 when he's 6'7", 315 in high school. The guy had just cement shoes for feet and never became anything at Oklahoma. It didn't matter that he was big. Also, the guy just used to get just destroyed at whatever, right? And Xander Cruz, Gerby Lambert isn't a 5-star. He's not. He's not a 5-star. I haven't seen him as a 5-star at most places. Like he's a very high recruit. He could end up being a 5-star. And certainly, if you told me that Notre Dame was like, well, they got Anthonie Knapp, so they're going to stop recruiting Gerby Lambert. Yeah, then I'd have a problem with that. I'd be like, that doesn't make sense to me. I think they should still recruit Gerby Lambert. But if it's Anthonie Knapp or Gerby Lambert, then I'd be like, well, that's a mistake. But I don't think that's the case. So then why are people getting upset about it? Like, I don't get it. I don't understand it.
So I guess the size stuff, if they bring him on campus and Matt Bayless says this guy can get to 300 pounds, no problem, then what are we talking about? What are we talking about? And the other part too, and we need to move off this because it's gone too long, but the Xander, and I don't mind the disagreement. I really don't. It's fine. But we do have a disagreement. Is that it's like he's not a top, like all you're telling us is that he's not a top 50 player in Georgia, whatever. You don't like his size and you don't like his offer list. Yeah. Jamie's talking about his physical ability and what he did on film and how that translates to the offensive line. Jamie's talking about the player himself, and you're talking about things on a piece of paper, right? And which isn't to say that like that's nothing, okay? But if he was 290, would we feel different? Would he be ranked different? Would he then be a top 50 player in Georgia if he was 290, right? Would Kyron Williams be a 4-star 150 player if he was 6 foot, right? Like sometimes you just have to look at the tape and say, hey, like this guy can play regardless of where he's ranked at the moment, right? And you know, it's like, Joe Alt, we can't talk about him because he's the exception. Okay, we can't talk about him. Well, Kyle Hamilton at this point, as a junior, was top 1,000 in the nation. Was he? Where was he at in Georgia? He didn't have a Georgia offer at that time. Like so, like I just don't. It to me, it's just kind of like at some point, it's like the film is good. Notre Dame likes him. Matt Balis thinks the size is fine. And that's what it is, right? So then if the film is good at that point, then it's like, okay, this is a good player. Let's take him, right? Ashton Craig, same thing. Like Notre Dame loves Ashton Craig right now. They think he's a really good player, really good prospect, right? They took him over one of the higher rated kids from Wisconsin. Everyone hated it. Jeff Quinn settling, right? And now he's a good player and they expect good things for him. And he's going to take over for Zeke Correll next year. Like, so
by the way, Ashton Craig, 265 at the time.
265.
Another guy worked out in camp.
Right. So it's just like to me,
he's now 296.
Like, at some point we gotta say like, hey, Notre Dame made the offer. And so that carries a lot of weight. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I don't even care if people just say like, it's a bad take, but if you don't have it based on anything, just like, or being like, you know, I'm not sure about it, whatever. I don't think people should be like Bernie, our good buddy Bernie, he's always in the comments, who's just like everything Notre Dame does is gravy and it's perfect or whatever, right? But it's like, okay, so here's the thing. I go against Justin Scott and say like he's not a top 50 player. Well, I have him obviously ranked higher than Anthonie Knapp, but it doesn't mean that I don't like Justin Scott. It just means that like I don't think his ranking is reflective of him as a player right now, or the projection for him. And Anthonie Knapp too, I would say like maybe check back in when the rankings are done and see where he's ranked, because I do think you know, he's going to be a guy who moves up. And I don't know, like to me, okay, so Ian Moore, who is a guy that Notre Dame didn't offer originally, right? And he is from Indiana. He committed to Ohio State, and they got in on, right? I think the difference between like Ian Moore and Anthonie Knapp isn't huge. Just my opinion. I just don't think it's that big. Yeah. So I don't know. Like I mean, the thing is, there's going to be people who always argue, like some of the people who are in the comments that against it, because they're always going to see, well, my point is whatever. Like, but so Xander Cruz again. I mean, who's always going to go? He's like, Huddle isn't always reliable. Well, is in-person evaluation reliable? Because they evaluated him in person. Joe Rudolph did. So pick which argument fits what you want, right? That's what people are going to do. And that's fine. That's fine. And then guess what? We'll see how it works out. You know, we'll see how it works out. But like, I don't know. Like, I just think he's a pretty good player. I think he's a pretty good pickup. If I was, I'm telling you, if Notre Dame fans, I think they should be pretty pleased. I think he has a chance to be a good player.